Okay, Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Wakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone, and salutation you Akim out there that puts this word in truth and in sincerity. This is a goddamn shame, man. With so much resources out there to help people who don't want their children, some people settle to this, take their kids out. This is an article from Channel 7, Eyewitness News. It says, investigation underway after remains of fetus found in black bag in Brooklyn. And this is a damn shame, man. When we further go down and read, it says, Canarsie, Brooklyn, WABC, which is Channel 7. An investigation is underway after the remains of fetus were found in a black bag in a pile of leaves in Brooklyn on Thursday. From what I heard, it was a 7-month-old baby. Because I read other articles. Why would you do that? But I understand. It's other resources out there that you can go to and get help. There's other people out there who will really take care of your kid. Or your child, I ain't gonna call it a kid, that's a goat. A baby goat that will take care of your child. But no, you neglect them in the wintertime and put them in a plastic bag and put them under some leaves and leave them there, which is totally wicked. But I understand on the spiritual part, I know that was the Most High's judgment. But first and foremost, we under curses. We under the curses. So we know this is the Lord's judgment on both sides. We under the curses, which is the Lord's judgment, and that little baby that whoever killed him and put him in a plastic bag and left him on a pile of leaves in Brooklyn. Now we know that in Canarsie, Brooklyn, in the projects, you have so-called black women, so-called Hispanic women, so-called Mexican women. We have the tribes there. So it had to be one of the Northern Kingdom or either the Southern Kingdom. One of the women of the Northern Kingdom or one of the women of the Southern Kingdom that did this. And that goes back to the curses. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 56. And it reads, the tender and delicate women among you, which were not of which to set off the soles of her feet, the soles of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband. That's why mainly the Southern Kingdom. That's why there's a lot of hatred going on between the black women, the so-called black women, and the so-called black men because of being under the curses. Going back to the Charles Willie Lynch papers, they did that. They did that purposely. When you go to the book of the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, it's in that book of how they was going to destroy the families. So this is part of the curses the Lord allowed us to happen. And it says, her eye shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter. And that's why whoever did that. There was other ways they could have gave the baby up to the grandmother, gave the baby for adoption. They could have did various things other than whack the baby out. And that's on a carnal level I'm speaking now. But on a spiritual level, that was judgment. And we're going to get to that. It says, and toward the young one that cometh up from between her feet, and towards her children, which she shall bear. And for she shall eat them in the wants of all things. You see what's happening with this SNAP program and how it's been reinstated, but now it has stipulations. Now you got to work at least 20 or at least 80 hours something like that, something what they were saying, at least 80 hours or 80, something with 80. You got to work some hours, 18 hours, something like that, or 80 hours a month to receive benefits. We'll see how that goes. So if all hell breaks loose right now, and these people are struggling to get, to get food, don't be surprised that the curses of cannibalism come back. And that's prophecy. That's a part of the curses, and I'm reading it. And it says, she shall bear, it says, I'm going to read it from the top again. Deuteronomy 28, verse 57. And towards her young one, Salakia, that come out from between her feet, and towards her children, which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege, and straightness wherein thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. And part of the way of being distressed is not being able to feed them, not being able to feed yourself. It's called a famine. It could be manufactured, or it could be that's happened. But both are orchestrated by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, whether it's manufactured by Esau, the so-called white man, which the Lord has allowed him to do so, or could this happen naturally due to destroying of crops, which could happen due to weather. Either which way is the Most High working on the left-hand side to bring forth that judgment. And it is judgment. This is Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, let me just jump up and get that. Let me get that now. This is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 39. See now that I, even I am he, and there's no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal, neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Did you hear that? The Lord said he kill and make alive. He wound and he heal. So the Lord allowed that to happen to that baby. The Lord put the spirit on that person to do that to that baby. Because the baby was being judged, even though it was only 7 months. But what about his previous life? He's too young to do anything in this life to receive that kind of judgment. But what he did in his previous life. No one escapes the hands of the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Nobody. That's why he's greatly to be feared. That baby came back and only been on this earth for 7 months before he got whacked out by a spirit of vengeance pursuant to Ecclesiastes chapter 39, verse 28. There be spirits created for vengeance. And the Lord put that spirit of vengeance on his mother to do that. Because no one is innocent. It says, verse 40. Verse 40, it says, if I wet my glittering sword and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies and will reward them that hate me. And whatever that kid did, that little baby did in his previous life, he got judged for it in this life, man. Let's read it. Let's continue reading. It says, police are estimating that the baby boy was pretty far along, about 5 to 7 months into the gestational period. The remains was discovered around 11 a.m. Thursday between the building in the New Bay and the Bayview houses on 102nd Street, Salakia. Police sources say it was a NYCHA worker. It says out in the grounds cleaning up trash and leaves that made the disturbing discovery of the fetus discarded in a garbage bag. That had to be a gruesome sight and a gruesome smell. It says, I saw the whole crime scene unit. It's crazy. A lot of people were devastated over here, said eyewitness Eric Roman. Yeah, it is kind of disturbing, but it's judgment. Video shared with Eyewitness News shows police crowding around just after 11 a.m. as they prepare to cover the remains left exposed on the public housing property. Those who lives in the complex say they are shocked and saddened by the discovery. Why? When I used to walk across the street from projects, I used to see women tossing out bloody Kotex, garbage, shitty diapers. And there's an incinerator right outside the door. But they would be so lazy, they would take that bloody Kotex off, excuse the graphicness of what I'm saying, wrap it up, sometimes don't even wrap it up, just toss it out the window. You can't make this up, man. You can't make this up. But that was judgment on that baby, and whoever did it, they're going to receive judgment. And that's how the Lord's deal. That's how the Lord deals, man. This is Job chapter 4, verse 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? That little baby, like I said, was not innocent. It was 5 to 7 months with what they're estimating, but that baby wasn't innocent. Because he had walked this earth before. And he died and paid before the seat of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua and received this judgment. And that was his judgment. To be found, to be killed, wrapped in a plastic bag, in the cold, under leaves. That was his judgment. When you think about it on a carnal level, that's messed up, that's fucked up. People are saddened by it. But when you're dealing with on a spiritual level, you know that was judgment. And more judgment like that is going to come. Because everything is starting to, come to that point where people can't take it. People are getting evicted from their houses. No more WIC, no more Section 8. So they're making it harder for all these government programs to come through now. Because that's the cruel Lord signing all these legislative orders into effect. If we all know that cruel Lord is Nero, it's Donald Trump, a.k.a. Nero. You can't make this up, man. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse, and it's only going to get worse. And a lot of you women are going to suffer. A lot of you women are going to suffer. Men too, but more so the women. Because they are the weaker vessel. And that's how the Lord created it. It says, back in Job chapter 4, verse 17, remember I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. Like I said, he was too young to do anything in this life. But yeah, he got brutal judgment brought upon him from the king of terrors. And the son of the king of terrors. And the king of terrors is going to bring more terror, more death, more destruction, more pain, more anguish. Because a lot of people out there, they come up against his men, starting with the apostles on down. They make mockery, make skits on TikTok, talk shit, put up their videos, rambling, lying on us. We suffer all the bullshit from the 2/3. But it's going to be more suffering out there. And like I'm reading now, no one is innocent. So whoever go through the ringer, it's the Lord wants you to go through the ringer because you're wicked. It says, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. By the blast of Yahweh they perish, and by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. I'm not making mockery. I'm not, ridiculing anybody. I'm just stating the facts. It was cruel for that to happen to that baby on a carnal side. But on the spiritual side, we all know who that judgment came from. It's easy to understand, man. Easy to understand. But a lot of people, they don't understand because they just, they just have a carnal mind state. But they don't understand how the Lord deals, how the Lord works. And, we could read a little more of the article. But It's crazy. It says video shared with Eyewitnesses News shows. All right, let me see. Yeah, let me read this right here. Video shared with Eyewitness News shows police crowding just around 11 a.m. as they prepare to cover the remains left exposed on the public housing property. Those who live in the complex say they are shocked and saddened by the discovery. Feel sorry for the baby. That baby didn't. Feel sorry for the baby. That baby doesn't need to pay the consequences of people's mistakes, said President Richard Salas. The baby paid for his own mistakes, what he did in his previous life. The Lord has used whoever did that as a spirit of vengeance, pursuant to Ecclesiasticus or the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 28. Spirits created for vengeance. It says, Resident Lisa DeRoche crafted a makeshift memorial on the grounds of Bayview houses in the very place the remains of the fetus was found. I dropped the teddy bear. It says, I dropped the teddy bear for her and for and my brother dropped the balloons because there's a baby. She's innocent. At first up, this says a boy, but now it's saying it's a baby. She's innocent. No one is innocent. Job chapter 4, verse 7. DeRoche said, for DeRoche, who also a mother that lost a baby, this touches a nerve. You can't just throw it out. It's not an animal, not trash, Lisa said. Law enforcement said the medical examiner will investigate the circumstances and determine the cause of death. They will also look to find whoever threw the fetus out. There's cameras everywhere. Whoever did ain't gonna get away. DeRoche knows the promise of life is fragile. Yeah, that may be true. We can't judge nobody. The Lord judges. And we can judge people. It says, we don't know what happened. DeRoche said, I'm going to say it again. But I'm going to say it again. But all I can say is to these people that there's resources out here. If you felt pressured, there's resources out here. We don't want this. Let me see if there's more to this article. Basically, that's the whole article right there. But you could do more research to find out more about this. But this is in Lamentations chapter 4, verse 3. Even the sea monster, because these women have become cruel. These women have become cruel. You walk down the street, you hear babies walking and walking behind the mother. She'll start screaming up the top of her lungs at the baby. Come to F on. The other day, I'm in the store, and this woman, she had a carriage pushing the baby. Plus, she had a 2-year-old kid or a 3-year-old kid with her, and the baby just wandered away from her and was in another aisle and was heading out the store. Who stopped her? The dude at the thing that was checking the bags. It's crazy, man. They don't watch their children. They're careless. They be on their phones, shopping. Social media destroyed everybody. Social media is a big destruction made for these women. It says back in Lamentations chapter 4, verse 3, even the sea monster draw out the breast, they give suck to their young ones. The daughter of my people has become cruel. And ain't that the truth? The daughter of my people have become cruel. How? Investigation underway after remains of fetus found in black bag in Brooklyn. That's how they've become cruel. Like the ostrich in the wilderness, the tongue of the suckling child cleaveth to the roof of his mouth for thirst. The young children ask bread, and no man breaketh it to them. They are to say that they did feed that delicacy. that they did feed delicately, they that did feed delicately are desolate in the streets. And that's going to happen again. They that said, they that were brought up in scarlet embraced dunghills, for the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom. Wow. That they was overthrown in a moment, and no bands stayed on her. You hear that? This is crazy, man. It says, for the punishment, this is back in Lamentations chapter 4, verse 6. For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people, talk about the whole nation of Israel, is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom that was overthrown as in the moment, and no band stayed upon her. That's going to happen again. The Most High is going to melt this place. A lot of people are going to die with it. A lot of people are going to get melted right along with it. And this is bad, man, for that to have happened. But like I said, it was judgment. What the hell she know? It says, this is Isaiah chapter 49, verse 15. Can a woman forget her suckling child, that she brought that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yea, they may forget, yet I will not forget thee. The Lord's not going to forget the elect. These women that's cruel have become cruel, and these men and these women that have become cruel toward their children, that leave their children or kill their children, the Lord is not going to forget that. Neither will the Lord forget his elect. It says, yea, they may forget, yet I will not forget thee. Because there's a remnant of an elect is this going to be saved. And that number is part of women and children are part of that number. So we got to understand that. I mean, I was just trying to ridicule, but this is crazy, man. This is Job chapter 39, verse let me see. Where should I start? I'm gonna start at 17. Gavest thou the godly wings unto the peacock, or wings and feathers unto the ostrich, which leaveth her eggs in the earth, and warneth them in the dust, and forgetteth that the foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may break them. And that's what these women do, give birth to kids, or before they even get a chance to come into this life, they abort them, give birth to them, forsake them. And that's a part of the curses, man. It says, she is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labors is in vain without fear, because Yahweh have deprived her of wisdom, neither have he imparted into her understanding. And that's why a lot of these women do what they do. Have multiple baby fathers, depend on the government to take care of their kids, because they done dealt with a Pookie or a Ray Ray, and that Pookie and Ray Ray that's broke out on her, or the man was trying to beat it, she was giving him such a hard time because he didn't want to be with her, but wanted to be in his kid's life, and she just bring him through the ringer. That's a part of the curses, man. Because the Most High deprived her of wisdom. That's why she do the things she do. Wear other women's hair on their head. Put long ass eyelashes on their eyes. Bare fingernails. Bare claws, paper fingernails. Get these BBLs. Because the Lord deprived her of wisdom. She want to enhance her beauty. That's why they wear all these expensive wigs. Some of them are cheap. You can tell they got that shiny look. And they walk around like their shit don't stink. But they're going to find out. Everybody's shit stink. Everybody's. They're going to find out, and they're finding out now. But it's going to become on a larger scale. Whoever did that, they ain't going to escape the judgment of the Lord. And that's just that. They ain't going to escape the judgment of the Lord. Investigation underway after remains of a fetus found in Brooklyn. I'm saying Black Bag in Brooklyn. Can't make this up, man. So with that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Brakak Wadash. Once again, double honors to the apostles and the bishops and the elders of Great Millstone. With that, Shalom.